In slight more than rather than a age, plasticity has lost of creature vaunted as a research miracle to creature condemned as an ecological calamity. It was in 1907 how the at first contemporary plasticity, Bakelite, was developed. It sharpened the way to an entire household of means relying on artificial polymer production, how is, constituent of big molecules done up of easy reiterated units. In the deceased 1950s and previous 1960s, improved in manufacture processes driven the price of manufacturing plastic downward sharply, pavement the way for inexpensive massive manufacture. He's not too lot of a extend to say how plasticity done the contemporary planet probable. Lot things how we get for given present rely on it. Breast milk, for copy, no much longer has to be brought in window bottles, manufacturing it more secure and less than burdensome to transportation. Plasticity has as well permitted supermarkets to propose a broad band of more recent make in a kind of proportion sizes. Grapes sold out in soldered trays quite rather than friable bunches include diminished waste management in store by more than rather than 20%, retailer analysts tell. Consumer are informed by the meal standards agent to put raw chick in a plasticity bag to escape the hazard of meal poison. Contemporary medical has as well much benefited of the affordable plasticity needle, developed in 1955. Onto the UK Plastic Federation, teaching include as well shown how if plasticity packing had to be replaced by some material, it would conduct to a growth in intake of packing, in regulation of massive, power and hothouse gas emissions. In reality, it says, option material to plasticity would outcome in 2.7 times more than hothouse gas emissions above their life expectancy. For all these reasons, few ecological campaigners severely say of lathe behind the watch to a before plastic year. The problem is quite to alleviate the lowest effects of its dissemination and discover ways of reduction the contamination it causes. For Lady Ellen MacArthur, whose personality named Basis Rest and lead named the New Plastic Economics, the entire food loop is necessary to be reworked. 32 per dime of it leaks in the environmental, 14% is incinerated and just 14% is gathered for recirculation, she told. Of how, just 2% gets processed in the identical quality assurance of plasticity. How is beautiful, but 2% of 78 millionth tons is diminutive. Lady Ellen told how 50% of plasticity could be reworked to be efficaciously processed. All too frequently, means were done how were not recyclable, since recyclable and non-recyclable plasticity components were combination and could not readily be separate. Mr. Jamie of Stager Precise Packing told he was work in researchers to discover new forms of plasticity how were less than detrimental to the environmental. Yet, early efforts had unsuccessful for engineering reasons and new means would be more than costly. Eventually, the decision is in consumer hands, say the expert. As they spot of, human beings who subject to plasticity can frequently select to buy means wrapped in window bottles or tin cans instead of. And some forms of plasticity are creature advanced. Yet, they are potential to price more than and might end up giver us less than appealing packing. The issue is, are consumer produced to take compromises to bring plasticity contamination?